as though you are in a, pick your luxury vehicle, like you're in a Cadillac or a BMW. It's quiet and powerful. And I just think that people don't know yet. They have to come down and experience it to really fully appreciate how much power and luxury that there is in these vehicles. It's very, I'm so excited because obviously so many of them are going to be made here in Michigan, and the guts of them are going to be made here in Michigan.
So you're predicting a hit?
I'm completely predicting a hit. Every time this is the third time or so that I've been in a Volt, and every time I get in, it reinforces how I think these cars are going to take off. Now, once the battery price is comparable to the internal combustion engine, and they're already on second and third generation batteries, and the more technology and research and development, the smaller, less weight, the less expense there will be for the batteries. So I just think they're going to be the vehicle of choice.
Governor, this is not a wise question, but compare the Volt, the way it drove to some of the other cars you've driven.
In general?
Yeah.
The Volt is like it's like a sizable, a hefty family car, but it's luxurious. So I would say it's sort of like almost like a Cadillac, except for it's not as big. It's more of a family kind of car, but it's got that sense of luxury about it, and it looks cool too.
Was the absence of motor noise kind of unnerving at first?
No, I loved it. That's to me, that's what makes it feel luxurious. In addition to being solid as vehicles, these are not tin cans or anything, but the absence of noise made it seem even more luxurious.
As you stand here and you look at all these electric vehicles, you think we're on the cusp of not just changing the auto industry,
but the world,
but society.
Yes, because these vehicles, this is the first wave of the use of these batteries for energy, right? And in the next wave, you're going to be able to drive into your home and plug in your vehicle, and that battery is going to be an assist for you to power your home. Perhaps you will be powering your car through the solar panels on your roof or the small wind system that's attached to the side of your house. And so you will be completely free of oil and your electricity for your home, because it will be powered by a smart battery. It'll be sending signals to the electric grid. You'll be able to sell electricity that you power to the grid at times when demand is high. So you become your own marketplace for energy, and that's what these vehicles represent, the cusp of something really big.
What do you see as the biggest challenge to widespread adoption? Price, charging stations, range?
Yeah, I think price initially is going to be a barrier for many, and that's why I think it's critical that the federal government continue with the incentives so that you can help to create that consumer demand up front. But as I say, by 2015, 2016, the battery makers are even suggesting that their price point is going to be parallel to that of the internal combustion engine. So that's going to happen, I think, fairly quickly. The issue of the grid and the ability to do a quick charge, I think that's going to be the biggest challenge, is where do you find places to do a quick charge if you need them. I think what GM has done with the Volt in having that extended range has really propelled the acceptance of the electric vehicle, and I think it will propel it forward and eliminate that range anxiety at the same time as they're working on the next generation, which will allow a quicker charge. And they're obviously in contact as well with the electric companies to identify places where you can do a quick charge without affecting the other users of the grid.
Governor, your administration has put a lot of time and effort into promoting the electric car business in Michigan.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you've got enough momentum that'll continue beyond your administration?
Well, it better continue on beyond our administration. Now we've got 17 companies in Michigan just in the past year that are coming to do the infrastructure for the battery. So we've got those who are supplying the electrolytes, the cells, the anode, the cathode, the separators. All of that ecosystem of a battery is happening in Michigan. Those 17 companies would not have been here, frankly, but for the state and the federal incentives to make a good business case for them here. But now that they're here and they've made the investments in the technology and the equipment, they're going to stay. And for us, in the next 10 years, those 17 companies are projected to create 63,000 jobs. So when you link it with our economy and job creation, as well as the win that it presents for the globe and the demand in the United States for reducing our reliance on foreign oil, I just think it's such a win for our state that it will last.
Governor, I have a quick question about vetoing the education bill today.
Yeah, I signed the education bill, but I vetoed the section of it that had a distribution that was different than what the federal government required. So we got a letter from the feds today saying that is not the formula that you need to use. So the legislature's got to go back and do it if we want the money. And of course we do want the money. So they can fix it quickly, but they've got to reappropriate it.
And do you think that they will cooperate?
Yes. Well, otherwise they lose the money, and nobody wants to see that happen.
And you had to do that in order to get
right. I mean, that's why we had to check with the federal government, because what they had done was a formula that was different than we had used in the past, and the federal government said, no, you have to do it pursuant to the formula that exists. And so that's what I'm asking them to do, is to go back and do it according to the formula that exists.
All right, very well. Thank
you. A century ago, one of my former employees, a young engineer by the name of Henry Ford, worked in our power plants. He was a teacher with cars in one of the machine shops. And when he decided that he liked tinkering with cars more than he liked tinkering with power plants, of course, he started a whole new industry. And today, we are on the verge of really reinventing and reshaping this industry with another great idea, and that's plug-in electric vehicles. Last year, I had the honor of welcoming the folks to the first business plugging in conference, and it was unlike any conference I've ever been to. We not only were sold out, we had a waiting list, we actually had gate crashes. I've never been to a conference where people literally crashing the gate to get in. And so we moved down here so we could accommodate the crowds that are really interested in participating in the dialogue about this new emerging technology and industry. So you are at the right place at the right time. According to a recent IBC Energy Insights study, more than 850,000 plug-ins will be sold in North America by 2015, and worldwide that number will be 2.5 million. The International Energy Agency estimates that by 2050, there'll be more than 100 million electric vehicles produced every year. But even if that number is off by a factor of 2, that still means this is going to be a huge opportunity and a huge challenge for us to make sure that the transition to an electrified transportation system goes smoothly. And for us in the electric utility business, it's all about making sure that these electric vehicles get integrated into the grid in a way that is absolutely seamless to our customers. As the former chair of the Edison Electric Institute, I can tell you that we are committed to doing that. Last year at this conference, Tom Kuhn, who is the president of the trade association, the Edison Electric Institute, announced with me an industry-wide initiative to support electric vehicles. And the pledge focused on 5 areas. First, infrastructure. We pledge to ensure that there are no system impacts from fueling a large number of electric vehicles. I mean, the last thing any of us want is a collective dimming of the lights at 5:30 or 6 o'clock every night as everyone gets home and plugs in their electric vehicle and everything kind of grinds to a halt. So we are committed to make sure that doesn't happen. Second area is customer support. For our part, we want to deal effectively with any of the customers' concerns, ranging from charging mechanics to making sure we've got the right rates in place so they feel like they're getting a bargain for their plug-in vehicles. Third focus is customer and stakeholder education about electric vehicles. Fourth is the vehicle and infrastructure incentives. So for our part, it's things like having off-peak charging rates, supporting tax incentives and purchase incentives and the like. And then finally, we're going to focus on taking significant steps to accelerate the introduction of plug-ins to utility vehicle fleets. And that's something that we're involved in. I'm pleased to report that over the last year, we've made significant progress. You know, automakers plan to launch 15 different models of plug-ins by 2012. So it's fair to say that the manufacturers